Hi, Super Thinkers. It's David, and I'm here in a workshop. And I was going to show you today how to use cardboard as a really great building and engineering material to make your Colonial tool project. Now, you might think of cardboard as sort of like a cheap, crummy material that doesn't last long, but actually, it can look quite good. It can be incredibly strong, and you can make things with it and learn skills that are going to apply to metal, wood, plastic, anything else that you build with. So today I'm going to show you several techniques for making things super strong and look good. And I'm going to show you them as I make a little colonial table. So here I've measured out the top of my table and I've made sure that it's about 14 by 14 inches, good size, but then I added more of a fancy shape that reflects that time period. And I'm going to cut it out. So now I've cut out my table surface and I've given it like a decorative curvy edge just because that's sort of like how colonial tables looked. But I'm concerned that this is thin cardboard and it could easily break if it's not reinforced. So similar to wood, cardboard has grain, corrugated cardboard, meaning these faint lines here. So if you cut out a piece and the lines are going along the piece in the same direction, it's going to be quite strong. And if you cut out a piece and the lines are going perpendicular to that piece, then it's going to be quite bendy. Sometimes bendy is good, but in this case, we want it to be super duper strong. So what do? So to make sure my table is strong in both directions, I can make what's basically a piece of plywood by having a piece that's going sideways and a piece with the grain running vertically on top of each other. So I'm going to trace this piece, cut out a second piece, and then glue them together. And this is what's called double thick cardboard. So now I've traced my shape so I can cut it out a second time with the grain running perpendicular. So now I've cut out both of my pieces and I'm going to glue them together. If you're using hot glue, it's important to move very quickly and try to cover the whole surface so you can put your pieces together before the glue starts to harden. So when cutting, I like to press the cardboard down really hard and lean on it with my body weight with just the part that I'm cutting sticking out over the edge of the table, but otherwise I'm pressing it down to the table. And that keeps it really secure while I'm cutting so that I can get a really precise cut and also be really safe. And I always cut towards my body, never towards your hand, but going from the top down and cutting towards my body. That's going to give you the most force and the most control. So now I have my double thick cardboard table surface. It's extremely strong, but I need to make the body of my table and the legs to support it. So there's several ways to make a really strong beam out of cardboard. Now beams are what makes up the skeleton that holds together buildings, cars, shelves like this one behind me. Basically a long straight piece. So one option is to make a cylindrical beam. So we can take a piece of cardboard, and again the grain should be running the long way. And if we want to make it possible to bend it, the best way to do that is to cut partway through but not the whole way through. So to make a cylinder, I'm going to have to make a lot of cuts pretty close together at regular intervals. So now that I've made cuts going down along with the grain at regular intervals, what I can do is start to break my cardboard neatly. And I know that it'll break right along the lines that I scored, and it won't break all the way through. It'll just break partway through. So now I have this nice circular beam, or it could be a table leg, which is going to be way, way stronger than it would be alone. If I try to break this thing, it is not happening. So my goal here is going to be, as with anything, when I glue two pieces of cardboard together, I want there to be some overlap of the two pieces. So I've spread out my hot glue very evenly over the whole area, and then I'm very quickly going to fold it over and press these two tabs together. So you can see the two pieces of cardboard are overlapping. So they have a lot of surface area where the two pieces are touching each other. And I'm going to apply a lot of pressure to that hot glue while it's still soft to make sure that it spreads out and really integrates and mixes into both pieces. So now I have a strong cardboard table leg or beam. I could push down on it pretty hard and nothing would happen. Another kind of cardboard beam you can make is triangular. It's the same idea. You cut little grooves and then the cardboard will fold over onto itself, and you want it to overlap right here where you're going to be gluing it together. But the triangle is one of the strongest shapes in engineering. Unlike the square, it can't collapse. And so this is also an incredibly durable beam. Another way to support your project is with an I-beam, or I actually made a T-beam, but you'll see I-beams a lot in buildings. The reason that an I-beam is so strong is that is in the T shape or the I shape. So if I have a single sheet of cardboard, and this applies to steel as well, and a real steel I-beam, and I apply force to it along the edge, it's very strong. But if I apply the same amount of force to the flat face, boop, it breaks very easily. So the way that we make I-beams really strong is by putting the two pieces perpendicular to each other in a T shape or an I shape. No matter what direction I push on this from, I'm pushing on the strong side of one of my pieces, which is the edge. And one piece is strong one way and one piece is strong the other way, and they both make up for each other's weaknesses. So here I made a T-beam that is insanely strong because I added some triangles so that these two pieces are well joined, and I cannot break this thing no matter how hard I try. It is incredibly durable. Can't do it. If you want to do something super easy though, just taking two pieces that have the grain running the long way up and down and mushing them together like a sandwich to make a double thick flat beam is decently strong. It's not as sophisticated, but it will work. Now again, this is much stronger than a single piece of cardboard, but I can still break it. So here I am with the bottom of my table and my table leg, and I'm going to glue it on. Now here we run into the difficulty of attaching two things that are at a 90-degree angle to each other, or a right angle. This one's going this way, this one's going that way, and the only spot where they're glued together is right in this tiny little place right here. That's not very much surface area for the glue to be attached, so it's going to be very weak. And this table leg, the second anyone pushes on it from the side, or any way other than straight down, is going to come right off. So what do we do to increase the strength of two pieces when we try to connect them? So as we said before, if two pieces are glued at a 90-degree angle and they're just glued along that one edge, they can flop back and forth, and they can also just tear off really easily. So some solutions to make it stronger would be tabs. A cardboard tab like this makes it incredibly strong. It still is floppy, but it is impossible to separate these two pieces. So to make a cardboard tab to join two pieces together, you need just a little piece of cardboard where the grain is running sideways, not straight. And then it'll fold really easily along the grain. And then you have a nice tab that you could use to glue onto both one surface and the other surface, and therefore increase the amount of surface area where these two things are glued together. And that would be pretty strong. An even stronger way to join two pieces of cardboard that are at a perpendicular angle to each other is with triangles. Not only does this increase the amount of surface area where these two are connected, but the triangle is one of the strongest shapes in engineering. So not only will these not come apart, but they won't even change what angle they're at in relation to each other. They are stuck at a perfect 90-degree angle, and I cannot mess with them at all. This is super duper durable. So in order to attach my table leg really, really solidly, I am going to use this right triangle because it is going to work much, much better. So even after adding just 3 triangles, this thing will not come off. This leg will not come off my table, nor can I move it side to side. It won't even wiggle a little bit. So now I've attached all four legs to the bottom of my table, and the triangles work pretty well, but I'm going to try something kind of similar, which is to add a little bracket between them. Just perfectly fitted so it fits between them. And similar to the triangle, what this does is it gives them some support from the side. And it's also going to support the bottom of my table. So here I have my Colonial end table, and it is really strong, pushing hard on it, and nothing is happening. As you can see, whenever you have a flat sheet, may be it made out of steel, wood, in a building, or furniture, it's always good to have something like these brackets. It's a 90-degree angle to that sheet. So two sheets in, if you looked at them in a cutaway, a T shape. And that's going to make it super, super duper strong. So I'm going to try to actually sit on this thing and see what happens. Wow, it supports my full weight. So here I've made actually a colonial stool. Using some cardboard engineering, you can create something incredibly durable and also beautiful and polished. So this is David signing off for Super Thinkers Makerspace.